Hi everyone, here again, but today I'm speaking about the Mayan calendar. So I'm on the fourth day sign in the 20-day sign Mayan calendar. Okay, now I'm starting with the day signs because they're the most significant. I'll have a little bit of a chat, maybe in another video, about how the Trikana makes a difference. The Lords of the Night, the tones. There's so much more to show you about Mayan astrology, but I'm starting with the day signs because the day sign and your past, future, masculine and feminine signs linked to your day sign are by far the most important elements that you need to find out about your Mayan day sign. Now, I haven't got any pages down to calculations because it's not something that can be easily calculated. So what I do is I go to a website. There's several. There's and I'll put those in the description box. Rather than rambling on about them now, I'll put a few links to a few good sites that will tell you your Mayan sign in the description box, and then we can go from there. Right. So, moving on. First of all, I always start with each day sign, which by saying a little bit about the Mayan people. Now, the Mayan are an ancient people. They were from ancient Mesoamerica, which is today's Mexico, Central America, Guatemala, that kind of area. They are famous because of their amazing knowledge of astronomy and mathematics and working out the cycles of time and how they affect us on Earth as human beings. A lot of the knowledge was lost when religious fanatics and colonizers came to the Mayan areas and plundered it. A lot of their stuff was burned and smashed and ruined, but some things have been saved and are used by archaeoastronomers, ethnoastronomers, anthropologists alike to help piece together the Mayan culture. So we have managed to piece together the facts from indigenous sources, people that are still alive today that know all about the culture of the Maya, which are normally the actual Mayan people themselves being interviewed. We have manuscripts, inscriptions, as well as the studies of the archaeoastronomers, the anthropologists, and we've managed to piece together quite a comprehensive skill base about the Mayan culture. So the Mayan system is a series of groupings of days, the most important of those being the 260-day calendar known as the Zolkin. So it's organized into intricate correlations between time, number, astrology, all existing separately from the Western 365 civil day calendar. So it's basically split into 20 day signs. Okay, those day signs will apply to you depending on what day you are born on. Okay. Then the next important number in your reading is your Trikana. Now, each of the 20 signs has its own period of 13 days dedicated to that sign. For example, I was born on the day sign of the road or the grass. People have got different names, but I was born in the 13-day cycle or Trikana of the serpent. So I'm 75% my day sign and 25% the serpent, the Trikana I was born in. Anyway, I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. Moving on. So again, I'm going to go through what I've just said again, really in a bit more, hopefully more organised manner. So the day sign's most important, like I've just said. There's 20 days, 20 day signs, okay? And those day signs cycle round. So when you get to the end of the day signs, it goes back to one in a cycle, okay? So each of the day signs has their own important information about the person's destiny, their talents, their abilities, their personality, and their difficulties. The day sign provides you with definitely your life mission, your strong and weak aspects, and it reminds you of your spiritual essence and your personal mission in this lifetime. And as I've mentioned a few moments ago, the Trikana is also important, 25% of the reading, I would say. So out of the 20-day signs, each one has 13 days, and each Trikana sign gives us the integral information about who we are. So if the day sign is the foreground of a picture, the Trikana sign is the background of the picture. Okay, 25% effective. If we compare personality to that picture, definitely the day sign would be at the front and the Trikana would be in the background supporting. Okay. Also, as part of our day sign and Trikana sign, we have a galactic tone. The tone reveals the relationship between us and the divine plan. And the tone is more like a mission given to you that adds to the mission you already have. There's a lot of that in numerology as well. They add to your missions as life goes on. And in Mayan astrology, your tone is there from the beginning. So it's like an added mission to your day sign, which also has to be included in your, you have to consider your past and future sign as well. This is the energy that your galactic tone is the energy that you most radiate to people and the society and the universe. But again, it is more background than, say, a day sign or a Trikana sign. It's just part of the ingredients that make up you. Okay, so past and future, or there's past signs and future, or you could call them destiny signs. Okay, so your past sign from birth up to about the age of 12, 13, even though you are a seed day sign, you would be ruled by another day sign that I'm going to tell you about in a moment. So you started off in your young life showing the signs of a different day sign. You're under the influence of that past sign until you're about 13, but you start feeling your day sign, the sign that is for most of your life, round about the age of 13, sometimes earlier, sometimes a bit later. And then around 40-ish, sometimes a bit earlier, sometimes a bit later, your future or destiny sign kicks in, and that's like your new mission for this lifetime, which adds to your day sign and your galactic tone. And you have to find some way. The skill in this life is to be able to put all those together and bring all of them to fruition. Okay, so the destiny sign is your new mission and your route to your spiritual development that you need to understand and realize. If you reject these from your life, I mean, you can do, but it won't do you a hell of a lot of good, and you might find that you have a lot of difficulties because of that. Your masculine and feminine are two different ways that you behave. Okay, so these masculine and feminine elements of your day sign support your day sign, or you must make them or help them to support your day sign. So the feminine side is your introverted sign that doesn't come to the surface very often. It's mostly apparent in your intimate relationships with people. So when you're out in the wide world during the day or at work or with acquaintances, they wouldn't see this side of you. People that are close to you are more likely to see the introverted side of you. Very close family and friends, basically. So most people don't see this. Your masculine side is the side that everyone sees. It's the side that you show in your career. It's the side that you show to the world. It's the side that most people that don't know you very well see. Okay, it's apparent in your professional relationships. It's important that these two signs complete each other. Whether that happens, however, is up to you completely. That's part of your mission in this lifetime, is to fulfill the needs of your day sign and your Trikana, but also coping with the masculine and feminine elements and expressing those as well. But you've also got to consider what your past sign is, where you've come from, and also what you're evolving towards. So there's a lot to think about. Okay, I've put these in because they are important, but they cover a sort of a wider spectrum, and they're the sort of topics that I'm going to go into a little bit more on a different video. So you've got the Lord of the Night, who is a repeating secret of 9 days, which symbolises your very, very deep unconscious motivations, and sometimes your deep good side and your deep dark side as well. Solar years, they're over 54-year cycles. They also make a difference in your life. Each year has its own special quality, which is reflected in your personality and your character. And the phase of Venus that you were born in, which is in 4 main periods, offers insights into your social values and your role in society. But as I said, these 3 things are important, but less so than the day sign, Trikana side, galactic tone. So I'm going to go through things in what I consider in a matter of importance to help you guys understand what a Mayan reading would look like. Okay, so all the Mayan day signs are split into 4 directions. The seed or can is in the south direction, normally coloured yellow, as in this little thing up here, the little on the top right. And the south and the Mayan signs related to the south, very much about connection, feeling, subjective feelings and emotional. Okay, so they're very much more people that are more intimate by nature, if for want of a better word. Okay, so on the Mayan calendar, the name is can or seed. Some people sometimes call the seed lizard, so watch out for that. You might see other research on Mayan astrology and you'll think, what is a lizard? You know, what I find is like learning the signs is helpful, and then it doesn't matter what name they use, you can put it back to the right sign, because the signs, the drawings are universal. Yeah, it's just the only difference is the way people draw and print them, and that's the only time where confusion comes in. As I've said, the meaning of the Mayan calendar is lizard, seed, and iguana. And a lizard, of course, is the other name for it. I also associate the seed with harvest time, with people being joyful, with warm environments and people enjoying the fruits of their harvest. The element is fire, very emotional, very fiery beings. As I've said, the direction is south, and they're most compatible with other people in the south group, or the yellow group, as I often call them. So seed, star, or rabbit, sometimes called the star, road or grass, some people call road grass, vulture or owl, or wisdom, I've heard being called the vulture. But I started by calling it the owl, but I tend to flick between. And then light or sun is another name for light. So I often say sunlight, because it puts both names in. Right, so your abilities and leisure interests if you are a seed Mayan sign. So you're a natural entertainer, very much so, and a performer, and you're quite attention seeking, and you naturally attract attention. You're a natural athlete, you're very sporty, so you like sports games, you're probably into football or netball or basketball, or, you know, anything that requires team spirit. And you need a physical outlet. You're quite an emotional being, quite an energetic being. So you need physical exercise, whether it be sport or athletics, as like an outlet for all the emotion, the emotional energy that you have inside you. You're very hardworking, and you strive to achieve your dreams. And you do have high standards of yourself, so you can be a bit self-judgmental at times, which doesn't help your self-esteem, by the way. You've got to cut yourself a break. Okay, cut yourself a break. You're determined, you're productive, and you do have a powerful impact on others. You know, people know when there's a seed around. You know, you don't blend into the crowd whatsoever. You attract others and people around you, and people like to be around you because you're very social. You're the life of the party. You're quite strong-minded as well, and you don't let people walk all over you, and people admire that strength in you. And your competence as well for leadership and performance is also very admired by others. You're a natural leader, as I've just said, and you're quite interested in leadership. You're quite bold and courageous, and if you've got a plan, you'll boldly implement that plan, and you're brave and you're quite fearless as well. Sometimes it gets you into trouble, but you know, sometimes it will achieve great things for you. You're a practical business person, very good at making the deal, influencing people as a politician. You'd be quite good at that. But, you know, fundamentally, you're a very good athlete. You'd be a very good engineer. And because you're into leadership and you're quite transformational, you could be a good spiritual leader. You don't let difficulties hold you back either. If there's a problem, you know, you're there to solve it. And even if it's pressing, you'll get your head down and get that problem solved. And you don't let difficulties stop you in any way, you know. Important to you is your friends and family. You're, like I've said, you love having people around you. You're very social. You're the life of the party, but you also do need personal freedom and solitude. Okay, so you need to have a bit of a balance where you have time to yourself and time to be free, to do your own thing and to think. You know, you do need that time by yourself sometimes. You're definitely a champion of people. You'll make a stand for what you believe in. So you could be the archetypal leader of like groups that stand up for human rights, or, you know, save the animal, or like for any particular ideals that you think are important in this world. You could easily be the champion and the leader of situations and organizations like that. Very energetic, very dynamic, and you need to make sure you have an artistic and a creative outlet as well as a physical outlet to keep yourself in balance. You're a very passionate person, very emotional, very active, very dynamic, very woo. You have high standards for yourself. As I've said before, you can be very self-judgmental, but you're independent, you're brave and you're confident, and you like to get out there and you don't let people hold you back. You're strong, you're determined, you'll fight through difficulties. You don't let things, you know, any like pipsqueak difficulties hold you back, and you will stand up and fight for what you believe in. You're very social, you're a very outgoing leader, quite happy to take charge when the need arrives, and you're good at influencing people because you're quite charming and charismatic. But, you know, you are a bit of a perfectionist, and that can sometimes hold you back because, you know, perfectionism is good. You know, perfectionists always do a good job, but make sure that the perfectionism doesn't overtake and keep you stuck in one place because it's just not good enough for you and you just can't move on till it is. You love to create a home and a cozy environment, and you love being in a relationship. You've got quite high sexual energy. You're always there to help your friends, your relatives. You're honest and noble when it comes to people that are close to you, very supportive, and you do strive for the ideal relationship, which is great. You know, I think everyone should have ideals, but not to use these ideals as a benchmark because you'll end up disappointed, because an ideal is an ideal for a reason, because it's not normally very realistic. So it's important that if you do have ideals, that you don't use those ideals as a benchmark for your happiness, because you will end up disappointed. Always see it as something that you always strive towards, but have it in mind that, you know, it's going to be hard, if not impossible, to hold that ideal for long. And, you know, even if that ideal does happen, everything in this world changes, so it won't stay that way for very long anyway. You are, where am I? You're an attention seeker, very much so. You're always noticed. You've got confidence, and your confidence and your self-esteem is important to you. Your attention normally comes because you can be a bit different. So if you're a young person at school and this was your young person sign or your past sign, you might be in a bit of a rebel at school, and you might now have unstable, unconventional but stable relationships because you're always the one to deviate from the status quo. You don't like conforming or being conventional. You're individualistic and you require a lot of personal freedom, as I've said before. You don't really care what people think. You're normally too self-involved to care, to be honest. And even if you did know what people thought, you probably wouldn't care about it because, you know, you like doing things your way or the highway. The only sort of people that you really sort of dislike are like superficial people and people that aren't genuine. But I'd say that was true of a lot of people. So in the negative, I haven't changed. You know, there's always something I miss in all my videos. Look what I've done here. I should have put negative seed and I've written the wrong thing. Every video I make at least one mistake, even though I check it through. Clearly, I'm not very good with my accuracy. That's something I need to sort out. What am I like? Anyway, moving on to the negative seed. So sometimes the seed can be too passionate, very obsessive about their passions, and like close everything off, and they won't be involved in anything else but their passion. They're just obsessed about it. And this extreme emotion and passion can form into aggression and can make you quite argumentative, and you'll argue your point until the death, even if you realise halfway through that maybe the basis of your argument isn't all that great. You'll only compromise under extreme pressure, which you can imagine can cause a lot of problems in a family environment and when dealing with other people. And if you do, or you are forced to comply, you can be very resentful of that fact. But underneath your bravado and your confidence and your outward strength, have actually got hidden self-esteem issues. And sometimes for long periods, if you have low mood for long periods, it can lead towards chronic illness. So it's something for the seed to really try and get past, is long periods of low mood. You can be quite an envious and a jealous person, which sometimes can lead to anger and frustration. And you do need to control your emotions a little bit more as a seed, to be honest. You need to learn to control your emotions to fulfill your mission in life. But, controlling your emotions is one thing. That doesn't mean you always express those emotions outwardly. You could still have strong emotions that are affecting your health, but hide those feelings underneath the veil of strength and confidence. So everyone around you thinks you're the most confident, strong person on earth, but actually underneath it all, you're far from it. And this can cause you a lot of difficulties if you're not honest with yourself and others. You're not keen on the spotlight, so which is a bit of a clash, because you're so good at performance and expressing yourself in a dramatic way. You'd be a good actor. So because you're not keen on being on the spotlight, you can shy away from the spotlight, and then you're not going to achieve your true potential, which is to be at the forefront, to be in the spotlight, to be an entertainer and a speaker and an influencer. You can be quite manipulative to get what you want and not say what you really need to say, and use passive aggressive actions to manipulate your way. You can be very oversensitive to criticism at times, and then the emotionality comes out of you. You can be quite sneaky and deceitful when you want something to go your way. Definitely self-absorbed to the point where you don't even notice what other people think of you, and to be honest, you don't really care. You need to channel all these energetic, dynamic impulses you have into positive rather than negative things, because if you don't channel them into artistic, positive pursuits, they could be channeled down the wrong direction, and you could end up doing things that aren't really good for you as a person. So, as a part of your day sign, so what I've just spoken to you as a seed, that's 75% of you. So what I'm going to talk about now are other elements of you as a seed day sign. First of all, I'm going to talk about your masculine sign, which is your outward you, the you that you show to the world, the you that your boss will see, the you that your colleagues will see, the you that the outside world will very much see of you. The feminine side is the side that people in the outside world don't really see. People that you're close to, close family and friends, will see this side of you, and it'll only come out of you to people that you know, love and trust. Okay, so only some people will see the feminine side of you. And then, of course, you have a past sign that was your influence from birth up to 13 years. So your past sign would have been very evident in your young life. But then at around 13, you switch to your day sign. And then at around 40-ish, you start feeling another mission get pushed into your day sign mission, which is your destiny sign. And you must take all these signs, your feminine, your masculine, your past and your future, and you must understand, accept and realize all these elements of yourself to come to your true potential. Right, so the seed sign is supported by feminine and masculine signs, as I've just said. So your masculine sign is what I'm going to talk about next. It's the sign that supports your seed day sign, and that's called the flint or the knife or the etznab. Okay, I always called it the knife, but I've seen it most often called the flint, but you can use any of the two names. And of course, if you remember, if you look to the left-hand side of the screen, that the Snap Flint sign, what it looks like, then you'll always recognize it no matter what people call it. So this is your extroverted sign. This is your outgoing sign. This is apparent in your professional relationships now. This is what your boss will see. This is what your colleagues will see. Okay, people that don't know you so well but see you more on the surface basis on the outside world. So to the outside world, you're known as you're very mechanically and practically inclined, excellent at solving mechanical problems. So you might be involved in the mechanical engineering field. You're a very social person. You're very excited by parties, family visits, social gatherings. You like getting together with colleagues and having fun. You're good at using tools and good at working with musical instruments. So in your career, you might be an engineer or a maintenance engineer, fixing cars or machines, or creating things with your hands, or playing musical instruments for your job or in your social time. You're polite to others, very compromising and self-sacrificing. You will put your own interests aside to help the people around you. But you can be emotional, like your seed day sign, you're an emotional being, and you can lose your temper if you're pushed too hard. You tend to repress your emotions, however, and avoid conflict because you know that you can lose your temper. So you tend to sort of avoid conflict situations so that you don't kick off because you know what you're like. Very interested in the technical subjects, so I very much imagine the seed to be involved in that kind of career, fixing, creating machines or items, tangible things. Good with detail, which would be really good in a job like engineering. But you can also be very vain and self-absorbed, so people know you as someone that's quite, into yourself a little, into what you look like, and sometimes you can be a bit self-involved. Okay, and this is what the outside world see of you. Okay, now your introverted sign, your feminine sign, this sign is mostly only seen by people that love you, people that are close to you, people that you trust. Okay, so close friends and close family are going to be the only people that see this side of you, and it's going to be mostly expressed at home, in the home, or out on leisure pursuits with family and friends. So when you're at home, when you're with people you love, you're under the dog sign. You're very cooperative, very helpful, loyal. You're loyal to your family and friends to a fault. You inspire loyalty in others as well. People want to be loyal to you because you're loyal to them. You're committed to your family and friends and your home life, and very consistent with that. You stick by your family and friends in times of trouble. You're never one to run away and leave someone in the lurch. You're creative, very creative in social and political topics. So you could be involved in local government in your spare time. You might be a member of a political party. You might lead groups in your spare time, or lead close friends, or just lead your family, however way you want to do it. I think the dog's likely to be involved in things relating to their community, neighbourhood watch, community action, that kind of things. That's a situation that would be really strong for somebody who has a feminine side of the dog on them. So the seed wants to be a leader, and your feminine side shows that very much. You're sensitive to where you stand in the pecking order all the time, and you will quietly work towards leadership positions. You won't be like overly out there about it. You will work towards authoritative positions, and it is something that would be one of your goals in your life, especially as you develop into the seed. Well, the seed and the dog work together, so both of them are very leadership. Okay, that wasn't very well put. Anyway, moving on. Sensitive to where you stand in the pecking order, of course, but you also need a lot of freedom and variety in your life, just like the seed does. You love the arts and the music, and for your feminine side and for your day sign, getting involved in the arts, the creative arts and the physical arts is something that would be really beneficial for you. Very technique conscious, especially if you're into music. My dad's got dog in his sign, and he is so ultra technique conscious. He notices any slight bum octave where other people won't notice. He will notice. You know, he's quite a nightmare like that. He notices everything. So the dog feminine side may have had a few issues with their father in their young life, but that's more about the day sign. And they're about coming towards emotional maturity by understanding authority. So it's not just about being in authority. It's also about learning what authority means and learning to understand it. Because the seed sign as well isn't very keen on authority. So it's something that they need to deal with within their life, including on their intimate feminine side as well. Okay, so your past sign. This is the sign that you started with, basically. All through your young childhood, you were influenced by, well, people call it the wisdom sign, the vulture sign, or the owl sign. I started off calling it the owl sign, but I've also seen it called wisdom and vulture quite a few times. So again, look at the sign, try and remember how it looks, and that will help you to always know that you're looking at the right day sign. And of course, it's called the Sib in Mayan culture. So as a child, okay, as a young person, you were quite the mature little advisor. You were always there for your friends and were there for someone to talk to. You were quite serious when you were young. You dealt with a few difficult things maybe in your young life, and it made you quite a serious, mature young person. Very deep in your thoughts a lot of the time. May have been quite a quiet child, but that didn't last, especially when you hit your seed sign. Very competent and wise, so you would have been quite a hard little worker at school, especially in the early days. Very, very realistic and pragmatic. You weren't a dreamer as a child. You looked at things for how they actually were and dealt with it in that way, which is like a very mature way for a young child to be. Philosophical about life. For a child, you were quite big picture thinker, and you had a very mature philosophical big picture outlook on life. Even then, pretty status conscious, as the seed and your feminine side shows. You're very much sensitive to status, and that you seek a higher leadership position in life. You're driven to raise your socio-political status. And you have high standards for yourself, exactly the same as the seed does. So even as you develop into adulthood, you still have those same traits that you had from your young life. Excellent sense of judgment, but very conscious as well of being judged. So when you judge other people, you've also got to keep in mind that people can judge you too, and you're very sensitive and conscious to that. You're critical of others, and you can downplay other people's feelings sometimes when you were young. But that's something a lot of young people do, but more so if you're a Sib, an owl, wisdom, or a vulture. You're a hard worker though, and you would have been a conscientious, quite serious, mature school child, but you would have been very sensitive to the hierarchy and authority. You may have wanted to be the teacher, or you may not have been keen on the teacher or your parents telling you what to do. And you would have been very, very sensitive to the fact that you weren't in charge of your own life as a child, which could have caused quite a lot of frustration. Sometimes the owl can be quite deprived by nature, whether that happens to them in reality or whether they just feel that in their life. They very much fear rejection, and sometimes the wisdom, the owl, can be a victim of authority, because authority is such a main key thing in their life. They could be taken advantage of by someone else, or even beaten and abused in their young life. But that's part of the lessons they need to learn in this lifetime for that to be able to transcend and come through that kind of treatment. Because unfortunately, even abuse is there to teach us something. Okay, so your future, your evolution and your destiny is the road ebb sign. So this will start coming into your life if you're not already 40 or in your 40s. This will start coming into your life as an added mission around that age. Okay, so as you get older, you will become more relaxed. The seed day sign is very energetic, very active, very wah, wah, wah. But as you come towards your 40s, you'll be a bit more relaxed and careful, generous, very giving person, courteous, more relaxed, more helpful, but sort of best at relating to others casually rather than deeply. You're a very pleasant person in social environments, and you do enjoy good company, and others enjoy your company. You make a lot of sacrifice to help others, which you've always done, even as a seed day sign. Relationships are at the centre of your world, and be more so in your 40s. You're very practical and a problem solver, but you've always been that way, even when you were the seed day sign, because that still is a part of you and will continue to be a part of you as you get older. Very much the designer and the engineer. That's your talent on the seed day sign, and that continues as you get older. So that's not something for you to abandon as you get into your 40s. You're still ambitious, you're still hardworking, you like to get started and get things done. But you prefer peace to competition or conflict. When you were a seed, mostly influenced by the seed day sign, you were quite argumentative, but as you get older, you're not really down with that. You prefer a bit more peace, and you're not so keen on competition and conflict. You want to relax a little bit. But you've learned, because you're quite an emotional being, the seed, very emotional, and as you get older, you're still very emotional, and you're very emotionally fragile and easily hurt. So you tend to avoid those kind of situations, to avoid that kind of emotional pain. But you tend to hold anger and resentment inside you, which you try and vent with physical hard work. But you are persistent. You don't give up easily. You will get that goal achieved. You might be a bit of a slow starter, but you'll work heaven and earth to make sure that goal is achieved. You can be quite conservative by nature, especially as you get older. The seed, not so much, but as you get older into your road sign, you do come a bit more conservative, more chilled, and you want peace, really, and you want peace in the world. Right, so I hope you've enjoyed my video on the seed day sign. If you like my video, please like and subscribe for more content. Click that bell icon, because that will keep you up to date on all my new posts on Mayan Astrology, on numerology, on my Forever Wellbeing products. I'm going live for Forever on Facebook tonight, so let me know if you want me to join you to my group so you can see my live event. I will be posting a video that's sort of based on my live event, but if you want to see me unboxing my C9 live this evening, contact me and I can get you onto my group on Facebook, and then we can go from there. You can email me if you have any questions about Mayan astrology or numerology. My website now has some content on it. Ooh! So go to my website. I will be adding new things all the time onto soulexplorer.net. And I'm also contactable on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn and Twitter. And I'm going to be putting all those links in the description box, together with some web addresses for you to go to find your Mayan day sign. Okay, so as ever, guys, trust the soul within you. Your intuition always knows best. See you soon.